When he came back out of the house, he started
Taisha was hit, but able to make it back to the car with her friends in an attempt to drive off before she died.
We need to call the police.
This is 22-year-old Taisha Sparks, whose strange unaliving has been going viral ever since her son's grandfather grabbed a blower and then loaded it on her in his front yard.
When Taisha came to this house, she reportedly went to that front door and knocked.
And now an entire community is protesting and going to war for justice because the man who took her life is still free. And the police department, in the eyes of the family, has done nothing to put the man behind bars who pulled the trigger, even though all this happened in front of witnesses and in broad daylight.
Nadia Blockett was in the car waiting on Taisha when she says there was an argument.
She told him shut the up. Then she was in the yard and he was at his door. He never stepped on the porch.
But you see, that's just the tip of the iceberg in this particular story, because family and friends of Taisha now believe she was set up by her baby daddy who sent her over there, and now believe she was lured to the residence just to be taken out, again, by her son's grandfather.
For them to have a gun, I feel like that was all planned. They did not have to do this to my daughter. She had her whole future ahead of her.
But the person who fired the shot and who still hasn't been officially identified by officers has not been charged.
And a whole lot is not adding up in this case, and people want answers.
For this district attorney, even the mayor, we want answers. And whoever we need to be held accountable, we're gonna do that.
We don't get no justice. Y'all don't get no peace.
But what exactly happened to Taisha on that fateful day, and why do people think that this is a suspected setup? And also, how is her son's grandfather not in jail fighting a case right now? Well, this is the Church of JoeStone podcast, where we find the most shocking and provocative stories in the culture and take them to church. And we're gonna go through it all, the entire story, and you can tell us if you think that this was a setup, apparently going right, or did Taisha put herself in this situation? Well, we're gonna dive into it all. You see, parents of a deceased Tennessee woman are seeking justice after they claim she was murdered by the father of her ex-boyfriend, who now has custody of her 1-year-old.
He tells 39 News that Taisha Starks was going to pick up her child from his father in February. While getting her son, an argument broke out between Taisha and the boy's grandfather. The family claims soon after, the grandfather shot at young Taisha a total of 5 times.
You see, Taisha Sparks was a 22-year-old woman from Brownsville, Tennessee, who was tragically murdered in February 2022. Taisha was a college student at Austin Peay University who was majoring in biology while also raising a 1-year-old named Tanston. By all accounts, Taisha was a hard-working and loving mother working hard so that she could build herself up so she could provide a better life for her son.
Hello, my name is Taisha Starks, and I have cried before a son. I'm ready to tell my story.
Unfortunately, that would all be cut short. You see, Tanson's father, Bryce Curry, had an agreement with Taisha to watch the child 3 days out of the week so that she could go to school and focus on her studies and also work to support herself and her son. So Tanston would stay with Bryce at his parents' home in Jackson, Tennessee, Monday through Wednesday, and Taisha would pick him up from work in the evening, then take him back to Brownsville. On the morning of February 20th, 2022, Taisha dropped Tanston off with his father and went to class. But when she arrived, she received a phone call from Bryce telling her she would need to find someone else to watch their son. Now, of course, this wouldn't go over well, and according to Taisha's mother, Tarsa, that caused an argument between Bryce and her daughter because she told him that it was his responsibility to find someone to watch their son, and he was breaking their agreement.
He knew the days that he was supposed to be keeping my grandson. My daughter had just dropped him off that Monday morning. He called her in an irate state, stating that he was not going to be able to keep my grandson, and he knew that she was in class. So she went back to get her baby.
When Taisha came to this house, she reportedly went to that front door and knocked.
Now, apparently during this argument, Bryce's mother, Chelsea Curry, allegedly called Taisha a stupid AB, which only escalated the argument, of course. But regardless, a few hours later, after Taisha got out of class, she picked up 2 of her friends, Ariana and Nadia, and drove to Bryce's home on Harpeth Drive in Jackson. She had already felt iffy about this entire situation, was worried about her safety, and also had apparently spoke about the fact that she felt like her baby daddy was acting a little strange with this whole situation. But nevertheless, the 3 girls arrived at the home around 6 p.m. that evening. The 2 friends stayed in the car, but one of her friends would end up giving Taisha a taser just in case things got physical and she needed to defend herself, which was a possibility because of how outrageous and I guess nasty the back and forth over the phone had been with the entire family.
The witness admits she handed Taisha a stun gun to take with her when she first got out of the car.
For protection, because they were talking like earlier that morning, they was already calling her and threatening her.
Now, according to Nadine and Ariana, Taisha was standing at the door for a long time waiting for an answer and was eventually greeted by Bryce's father, Tyler. They immediately, of course, started arguing, and the two friends overheard Taisha yelling, "I just came here to get my son." Now, apparently, as soon as Bryce's father opened the door, Taisha stepped back all the way into the yard. So he's standing at the door, she's in the yard. But after the arguing, Tyler would then go back inside and shut the door. Now, in an audio recording, Taisha could be heard joking with her two friends and even said, "Y'all, the daddy mad and he is acting like he wants to fight." Well, he would want to do something else. They would all start laughing at this, but apparently Tyler would eventually come back outside the home and start shooting at them. Unfortunately, Taisha would then be hit, but somehow make it back to her car and try to drive away. She would make it very far though, and ended up crashing into a mailbox in a neighbor's yard, not very far away. Before paramedics could get there, Taisha would pass away in her friend's arms. Now, according to the two friends, when police arrived, they interrogated them as if they were the suspects, even though there were multiple witnesses to the murder. And yes, while Taisha had a taser, apparently, according to her friend, she never pulled it out. But the authorities say that witnesses say differently, in that she had been arcing the device, or I guess holding it in her hand as she did something. It's very unclear exactly what happened because the police have been tight-lipped about this, which is part of the problem. But this is one of the places where the story starts to separate, because Taisha's friends would say she didn't pull it, and I'm guessing the reason why this man hasn't been arrested is because there's supposed to be some type of self-defense claim here. But if she was in the yard or at the door of the house, seems like he would be more than safe. But let's continue. The family, of course, is heartbroken and have been demanding justice for Taisha with no information coming from the police. But see, the thing is, apparently there's an audio recording taken by the girls that captured the moments leading up to the shooting and the aftermath to support their version of the events. But still, no charges have been filed against Tyler. Now, in an official statement from the Madison County Sheriff's Office, they claim that Starks was arching a stun gun when she was shot by the resident, and apparently witnesses corroborated this. So at this moment, Grandpa isn't facing any charges, but the investigation apparently is ongoing, which is why people are protesting in the streets. So it seems like the police may believe they know what happened, but with Tennessee's Stand Your Ground law, which allows residents to use deadly force if they are attacked on their own property, if Taisha can be painted as the aggressor, well, that means Grandpa doesn't have to go to jail. But did Taisha actually attack him at any point is really what the question is here, and the police have not revealed why they have failed to make an arrest in the case, but they may feel like they can't bring charges because it's going to be hard with no video evidence and with conflicting stories from different witnesses for charges to stick if he can claim that he felt threatened by the stun gun and believe that his life was in danger.
How does a young 22-year-old woman get shot to death 2 months ago today and nobody knows about it? You know, so who does this man know that he can shoot and kill a young mother, keep her baby, and there were 2 other females and a 6-month-old in the car. He hadn't been charged with nothing in 2 months.
Whatever is stopping them, Taisha's family is determined to get justice. And although they've said that the process has been a nightmare, they've started a GoFundMe to raise money for legal fees and financial support to continue fighting for justice. They've also created a petition with almost 4,000 signatures trying to force their local government's hand into actually making something happen.
We just want some answers. You know, it's been 2 months. And we still haven't heard anything. They haven't called us to let us know, how the investigation's going.
Even though the death was traumatic enough, the family says that the worst part is they haven't seen Tenston since the incident. The father has had full custody of the child since this happened, so he's believed to still be living at his grandfather's home, the place where the baby's mother was allegedly murdered. And even the mom says that the baby may have witnessed this whole thing happen. His mother being unalived by his grandfather, and Child Protective Services have been of no help to them. Because in addition to seeking justice for Taisha, they're also fighting for full custody of Tenston. And it's a sad story, with this broken family and a baby caught in between. And now a woman who just seemed like she was trying to be a good mother is deceased, and it's unclear what the police are gonna do about it. If Taisha was still alive, she would have been about to complete her final semester at school and begin the rest of her life. She worked hard for that accomplishment, and in the words of her mother, it's now been robbed from her. And this story just, I don't know, it's very strange, because the friends say that Taisha never pulled anything out, but allegedly there are witnesses that say differently. Are those the witnesses that were in the house? Can their stories be trusted? Who else was outside? And was this man's life actually in danger if she had a stun gun? Did she actually attack him? That sounds highly unlikely, because even if she did pull it out, if she's in the yard and you're in the door of the home, well, it just doesn't seem like you're in that much danger, especially as a grown man. Or did he use that law as an excuse to take this woman's life in an attempt to do that and try to get away with it? And also, what's the strangest part about this entire story is that they called her to come pick up the child, then when she tried to do it, took her life for trying to do so, which makes zero sense. She wouldn't have been there that day if her boyfriend had called her. It's not like Taisha just woke up and wanted to start some mess with the entire family. No, the boyfriend broke their verbal agreement, and Taisha was picking up his slack and taking responsibility for the situation. And when she tried to get her kid, which is what they asked her to do, well, she was met with resistance for whatever reason. So it's understandable to kind of see why the family would think that this was some type of setup. And if the police have some other information, well, they need to talk to the family and explain to them why this man isn't in jail. But as of now, they pretty much got nothing. But let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Taisha was set up? Do you think that the baby daddy has something to do with it? Do you think that Taisha attacked him? And do you believe the friends that say that she never pulled the stun gun out of her pocket? Well, you let us know in the comments. But this is the Church of Joe Stone podcast. Well, cool comes to pray. You can stay and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another video coming your way, where we find the most shocking and provocative stories in the culture and taking the church. I will see you in the next one.